Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Songbird's Nest. I hope you're having a good day. If you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. If you're new to the channel, I welcome you too. Come join me in the Songbird's Nest. We're just going to sit and have some chat and coffee and crochet. Whatever whip you're working on, that's fine. I just enjoy having you here with me. I'm going to start out by opening up a little bit of what I consider happy mail. This came from Mishi over at Mishi's Crochet Nook. Hi, baby. How are you today? How you doing? Welcome in. I'm just going to open a package here that I got from Mishi at Mishi's Crochet Nook. She did a live and had some really pretty yarn that she wanted to give away, and I just happened to be the lucky recipient of it. So let me just see. Okay, so she just dropped me a quick note that said she's glad that I got this beautiful yarn. It's a little thin for her taste, but she's so glad that I got it. So what this is the Summer Nights yarn. Let me take it out of the package. I have never worked with this yarn, but I've always wanted to, and I just love this color. It's got all the blues and purples in it, so I'm going to really enjoy this. I've got 3 balls of it. Each ball is 437 yards, so that means I've got over 1,200 yards of it. So that should be a really nice shawl, I think. And I am going to love working with this. So fun, 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 fun. So be watching for a shawl to be made with that. Hey, Melissa, how's it going? Nice to have you here. So I just basically wanted to jump on. I haven't done a video in over a week, and I decided I would just jump on and do a live. But if you guys will bear with me for just a moment, I'm going to try and do something about this lighting because it's bugging me. It's just glaringly bright. So I'll be right back. Lighting this bright is great when I'm doing a tutorial. But I think if I'm just sitting and chatting, a little less brightness might be in order. That's better. Now I've got my overhead light. Let me show you guys what I did. It's too bright too, really. So what I did, I have a silk veil that I hand dyed back years ago when I used to dance. And so I put it up on the ceiling over my fluorescent fixture that's up there. So it kind of works to modulate the light a little bit better. So I am going to just sit here and continue working on the poncho that Kim asked me to make for her friend Lori. It's the Layers of Kindness poncho, and I'm making it with a 4-weight yarn, so it is a little heavier than the one that I made for Kim and the one that I made for my tutorial, but it's working up really nicely. I love this yarn. She sent me 4 cakes of this yarn. It is the Caron Blossom Cakes. I've got to figure out where my camera is. I'm not used to this new camera setup. It's the Caron Blossom Cakes, and the colorway doesn't show up real great in this lighting. It's called Yacht Club, and it's basically tan and cream and gray. It's really pretty colors, so, and very, very, very soft. I got to get me some of this. Hi, Laura. Hi, Louise. Thanks for coming in. I hope you guys have a project to work on, because I'm just going to sit here and chat with you guys about whatever and work on this. So later today, I'm hoping to try and get a video out on how to make Natasha beads. I don't know if any of you work with polymer clay or have worked with polymer clay in the past, but it's one of my many hobbies that I've taken up over the years. And I learned how to make Natasha beads because with a lot of the polymer clay projects I was doing, I was running into ending up with a lot. Thank you, Laura. I appreciate it. Yeah, I definitely don't want you getting in trouble at work for watching YouTube when you're supposed to be working. A lot of employers kind of frown on that. I don't know why. But yeah, when I was working with polymer clay a lot, I was running into having a lot of scrap clay left over. And once you've used clay and mixed it enough times, you come to a point where you basically have a lump of muddy clay. At that point, it's really only good for using for filler for other things, like if you want to make a thin veneer of clay to go over something else. It's great to make your base piece with the muddy clay and then put your veneer, your thin veneer over that. That works really great. But when you've got little bits and pieces that haven't been mixed together, what you can do is kind of lump them all together in one lump and then make them into kind of a square or rectangular piece. And then there's a way that you can cut them and turn them and put them back together that you can make beads with. And I'm not sure where the name Natasha came from. I'm just assuming that it's probably the person that originated the technique. But what is really cool about Natasha beads is you will never get 2 beads exactly alike, because when you chop up the clay and mix it together and make it into squares, and every time you cut it and turn it, you get a different pattern. So that is a lot of fun. And I'm thinking I may try making some and using it to like cover the handle of a crochet hook, or you know, even like take some of my older metal hooks maybe and um, make a handle for them, make more of an ergonomic handle. Um, so yeah, but I'm gonna show the technique of how you can make Natasha beads, and yeah, they're just really fun. You can make them big and make them as a like a focal bead for the center of a necklace or something like that. So, so what are all you guys working on today? Oh, that texture cabin throw looks so nice. I'm just kind of throwed out. I've done um, I've done a couple of wands, crochet alongs, and I did um, a baby blanket this year. And what other crochet? Oh, the Afghan for Bod's animal rescue auction. So I'm just kind of, until it gets really good and cold, I think that any blanket making is basically kind of on the back burner for me. When I do get back into blanket making, I've got a mosaic blanket that I've started. I started last winter and didn't get much of it done before it got too warm to hold a blanket on my lap. So I am going to pick that back up again. Um, and then I've got a good friend who lives up in Michigan. Um, she has had some medical issues going on over the time that I've known her, and earlier in the spring, um, she had to start going to dialysis. And so she's at dialysis now 3 days a week. And so I was talking to her the other day and asked her if she might like a poncho. Now, she wouldn't enjoy anything like this. She is not a girly girl at all. So anything lacy wouldn't be up her alley. But she does love Irish, like Celtic designs and stuff like that. So, what I've decided I'm going to do is just make her a very plain poncho, but I'm going to work some Celtic designs like up at the neckline, and then maybe I'm going to do a four-corner poncho. So, I'm going to do like Celtic designs at the points of each corner. I think that would make something really pretty. So, yeah, so I've got to get that started here soon so I can get it to her. Um, Try to get it to her hopefully maybe by Christmas. The rate my life is going, that's about when it'll get to her, I'm afraid. Melissa, I will be really interested to see your poncho. Now, Camille and I are supposed to have the crochet along again tomorrow. She wasn't able to do it yesterday. She had some stuff come up to where she wasn't able to do a live yesterday, but it looks like she's got one scheduled for tomorrow. It would be 11 Eastern time, so 10 Central. So if you want to come join the crochet along, we would love to see you there. Yeah, that would be AM. Yeah, so basically I will do Kim's live and you know, be there for her live, and then join Camille on hers later on in the morning. So I'll probably just end up hanging out down here in the Songbird's nest all morning tomorrow, which is fine with me. I got plenty I can do. I really need to vacuum and package up some yarn to be mailed out. I've still got Monique's yarn sitting here, and I also challenged Camille to do the Yes Michelle Crochet's yarn challenge. So as soon as she shoots me her address, I will be sending her some. It'll be the live tomorrow, Melissa, is 11 Eastern, 11 a.m. Eastern, or 10 a.m. Central. I don't know which time zone you're in. Let me see if I can get you the link for Camille. Bear with me just a moment. There's the link for Camille's YouTube channel. Yeah, Melissa, I knew that you were in Florida. I was kind of concerned for you when the hurricane went through. I was talking to my brother the other night. We usually go down to my dad's house. He lives in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. And we usually go down there for one of the holidays, either Thanksgiving or Christmas, you know, depending on what his weather's doing and what our weather is doing. So, yeah, so I was talking to my brother the other night about getting down there from this area of the country is going to be really interesting because of all the roads that got washed out. He was saying he likes going through Tennessee and then cutting over east from there. And I was like, do you plan to take I-40? Because I-40 will definitely be a no-go. Told him I-40 had gotten completely washed out in some places. So yeah, you lucked out, Melissa, because I mean it must have gone quite a bit north of you before it cut over east. Um, but yeah, uh, North Carolina and West Tennessee um, got hit so hard. It's just unbelievable. You never think of a hurricane in the mountains. I mean, that just doesn't compute. We always associate hurricanes with being something, near the ocean. And yeah, the flooding was unbelievable. Asheville got really, really flooded. But there's a lot of those little mountain towns that just aren't even existing anymore after all the flooding that came through. Um, and that's the thing, humans love to build on rivers and lakes and things like that, because, well, for one thing, water transportation and, um, just the fact of being near water is, so nice to be near water, but sometimes we pay for wanting to be too close to that water. You know, building your house right on the coastline um, isn't always a good thing. Yeah, my heart is real sad for everybody that lost their home and their lives. Some people lost, I mean, some people lost loved ones. Um, there's a storm chaser. There's a group of storm chasers that I really enjoy watching. And their little group, two of the guys are out of Ohio, and then one guy is from Wisconsin, but they always travel together and kind of coordinate what they do together. Um, Partly, they each have their own YouTube channel, but they kind of coordinate what they do so that they're working together. Hey, Marianne, how are you doing? Good to see you in. But the other day, well, they went down to Florida for the landfall of the hurricane, and that was pretty wild to watch. But then they went up to North Carolina after when the storm moved up that way. So what they do, they do storm chasing. So they do like to get video of storms as they're happening, but they also do a lot of efforts towards helping people clean up and recover. And they do they've done some rescues on videos that I've seen. So they're really out there trying to help people. So one of the things that they did was went and bought 5 Starlinks out of their pocket and took them to Asheville, North Carolina. They only ended up installing 4 of them in Asheville, and I don't know if they've installed the last one anywhere. But they installed the Starlinks in Asheville to help get internet back there, internet access back to them, so that people could reach out to their families and things to let them know, because a lot of these people have no power, no cell access, no internet access. So, you know, they're really totally cut off from the world. And, other than I really have not seen a lot about this on major media, um, as to what's going on down there and what's needed down there. But yeah, these guys took these Starlinks down. They also filled their vehicles up. They kind of drive larger chase vehicles. Um, so they filled their vehicles up with water and food and stuff like that. And so yeah, they did a good effort. So they have a way during their live streams that people can donate if they want to. So I decided to go ahead and donate some money to them, because at least that way I know exactly where my money has gone. I mean, um, I think with everybody that was on the live stream the other day, watching them working in Asheville, um, I think they just about recovered what it cost them out of their pocket. But they didn't even care. They said whether people donated or not, they were going to take that money out of their pocket and go ahead and take the Starlinks down there, just to help give people the access that they needed so that they could reach out to their families and let their families know that they were okay. Because you know any any place that could get communication in, we're getting inundated with telephone calls from all over the country, people looking for their family members, just like you said, baby. um, yeah, so getting communication set back up down there is a real high priority. um, But I've seen some strange reports coming out of that area, though. Yeah, I bet, Melissa, it would be very stressful. Yes, definitely. I mean, having because I think a lot of people down there are prepared in the aspect of like having a generator or something, especially people in the mountains, because in the mountains, they do get some heavy winter weather and that can knock power out. So I think a lot of people down there are prepared in the aspect of knowing how to put food by and knowing how to, have a source of power, a source of heat if they need it. But communication, you know, it just goes, so yeah, exactly, Melissa. And I know that especially North Carolina. North Carolina is a really popular state for homesteaders. And so they're kind of, I think a lot of them are somewhere in the realm of being preppers. So a lot of them are totally off grid, or if they're not completely off grid, they do have infrastructure set up for themselves so that they can have power and water and what they need. But yeah, communication, you know that goes. So yeah, it's a scary thing. I always get a little concerned for my dad with him being I mean, he is smack dab on the beach. You look out his balcony window and you are looking down at the beach. It's right there. And he's been lucky. He has not had, um, I think he's had to evacuate one time since he's been in that condo. Now, the problem with his condo is, though, he is like way up in the building. His condo is considered the penthouse, and which I mean sounds really fancy schmancy, and granted it could be, but my dad's not a fancy guy, so it's not, not all that. But it when they have bad storms down there, they they have to have pumps to pump their water up to the top of the building. Um, so if there's a really bad storm, they shut those pumps down, because if they get flooding in from the ocean, it will get into their water system and they'll be pumping salt water up through all the pipes. So they end up shutting down those pumps. So my dad normally, if he has to leave during a storm, it's because they shut the pumps down and he won't have any water. So, yeah, so he's only had to actually evacuate from a hurricane, though, one time since he's been living there. And, it wasn't even that bad. But he is talking about moving. He bought that condo mainly because his wife wanted to be on the coast, wanted to be on the ocean. And she is now in a nursing home and doesn't look like she'll be ever coming out of the nursing home. So he's kind of talking at this point about possibly moving, finding a house and moving. So what I'd love to do is talk him into buying some property with some land to it and letting my husband and I come down there and maybe put a mobile on the land. And that way I would feel so much more comfortably because I would be close to my dad. He's very resistant to having anyone living with him, even though he's, getting up there in age. He is still a fairly healthy guy. So, I mean, he still gets out and drives all over the place. He drove up from South Carolina up to Michigan a couple of years back, and he stopped here and stayed with us a couple of days. But yeah, he goes to folk music festivals all over the place, and um, he does his things. So he's very resistant of having anybody living with him. But if I just lived close enough to him that I could. Yeah, Marianne, you've got a decent setup. Yes, I do agree. Mobiles can get wiped out very quickly. I had a mobile when I lived in Tennessee, and we were really lucky um, where we lived in Tennessee. I used to say we lived in a hole because we had, if you went out in our yard, any way you turn was hills all the way, like a bowl around us. So, um, yeah, I used to say that we lived in a hole because we were down in the bottom of where those, yeah, I lived in a holler. You're right. And so we would literally be watching on the news when there'd be storms coming, and you could watch storms just literally like split and go around us. And um, we very rarely got bad, severe storms hitting our little spot. It was amazing. But by the same token, we were always several degrees cooler than any place else around me. Is which was okay in the summer, but during the winter, it got downright cold. So yeah, but yeah, I love South Carolina too, Melissa. My grandparents lived up in Union, South Carolina, and so um, our family would go up and down through that area a lot, to go down and visit them. And they had a cottage that my grandfather had built over on Lake Greenwood that was just beautiful place. In fact, if I had had that cottage, I'd have sold their house in Union, and lived in the cottage full time. That would be my thing, because it was a gorgeous area. Okay. I also was down in South Carolina. I was around the Augusta, Georgia, Aiken, South Carolina area for a little while, and I liked it there. But I'd like to move down to South Carolina, and be within a few hours of the coast. I don't want to be right on the coast. I mean, as you can see, you can get bad enough storm damage, just from even being not even that close to the coast. So, but by the same token, we can get tornadoes up here. So, and they're actually saying, um, that Tornado Alley is moving and coming east more. Um, so they're expecting that. Well, I mean, look at Michigan. Michigan got hit with a lot of tornadoes this past summer. And Michigan, we used to get a lot of warnings when I was a kid, but I don't think I ever saw an actual tornado. We got crazy storms. We would get some really severe storms, but I never saw a tornado when I was a kid. But now Michigan is really getting a lot of tornadoes. First time I ever saw a tornado was when I moved to Tennessee. Um, I worked in a sewing plant, and luckily I wasn't that far from my house. And we had a day that there was a tornado outbreak, and I think there were like 23 tornadoes in the area. It was insane. But at work, they were having us take cover, which is kind of a laugh because we were basically in like a metal pole barn, more or less. Um, so taking cover in there was, non-existent. But I lived close enough to the plant that I ran out, jumped in my car, and flew home. I was home within about a minute and a half. And the way the road went, I had to go down and around a really sharp curve and down. And when I hit the bottom of the hill where that curve was, I was at a light, and then I'd go through that light and across and basically be home. And as I was going around the curve, I looked out across the valley, and I could see a tornado out there. And I was like, at that point, after I got around that curve, I basically floored it to get the rest of the way home. And we didn't have a basement because um, not many houses in Tennessee have basements because the bedrock is so close to the surface down there that you have to blast to have a basement. But we did have a crawl space. And so we grabbed our dog and our guinea pig and hit the crawl space. And yeah, Tennessee gets some weather, most definitely. I loved it down there. I loved living down there. I lived in some beautiful areas. You know, Melissa, it's only scary to me in the aspect of losing my home. But as far as the storm itself, storms don't scare me. Um, I just, I don't want to have one hit where, I lose my home or my life. But, by the same token, if that's what's meant to be, that's, what will be. Not, Wow, Marion, that sounds wild. Vermont is a beautiful state, too. As far as I'm concerned, any state that has mountains has it made. I think mountains are some of my favorite places. I have always said that I would love to have an earthbound home. I'd like to have it like built into a hill and have like the back three sides of the house under the hill and just have the front of the house open. I think that would be such a cool way to have a house. But then I like caves too, so I wouldn't mind, living in. Oh man, that's sad. Yeah, see, that would be what I would love to have, Marianne. There was a house when I lived down in Tennessee that you could only see the front of the house, and then the way that they built it, the colors that they used and stuff, it was it blended in so well with their scenery around them that you could barely know that there was a house there. I just happened to catch a glimpse of it one time during the winter when all the trees were bare, but during the summer when all the trees had leaves and stuff, you wouldn't know that that house was there. Baby, you have a great day too. Thanks for stopping in and spending time. I appreciate it. I don't even know how long I've been on at this point. Oh, where's my timer? Oh, okay. So about 45 minutes. Not bad. I'll probably cut off about an hour. So what are you working on, Marianne? Not a thing? Hey, not a bad thing to do. After I finished that poncho tutorial, I took a couple of days of not really doing a whole lot of anything. I was ready for a break. And plus, I just didn't realize just how tiring sitting and recording myself crocheting and then, getting all the video clips put together. Whew, I can see why Kim does her live streams because, man, it was a lot of work and it was very tiring. And, I don't know that I am going to ever be a great video editor. So a lot of my videos are probably just going to be what they are, When I upload them, they'll just be me in all my glory making my mistakes and whatever. I haven't watched a movie in weeks, Marianne. I get so stuck in YouTube that I forget, all the movie channels I've got. After Marianne's friend was telling the after Marianne's friend was or Marianne after Kim's friend was telling the story about Ben Stiller, I had to go watch Walter Mitty again. I just absolutely loved that movie, and her talking about that reminded me just how much I loved it. So I went ahead and watched it again for the gazillionth time. Yeah, Melissa, you might not mind mistakes, but I do. Of course, I guess if I make the mistakes, maybe I can keep you from making them, right? Show you what not to do. Oh, drink some of my cold coffee here. Isn't this a cool cup? It's from Morocco. I've got one like this. This is the one that's predominantly blue, and I love this one. And then I've got one that's predominantly red, but it's a big coffee cup. It actually holds twice what a normal coffee mug holds. So when I drink two of these a day, yeah, I'm getting a bit of coffee. Oh, Melissa, I know what you mean about staying up too late and crocheting. I do that, and it never fails that I end up having to frog because I've made a mistake somewhere. Yep, I know that feeling too well. Well, I was working on this the other day, and I was working on it during Kim's um, coffee in the morning, and I made a mistake at somewhere on it, and I ended up having to frog back an entire section to figure out where I had made the mistake. And I never did pinpoint exactly where I had made the mistake, but the second time around of doing those rows, it came out right. So, Oh, yeah, I'm gonna probably jump off here pretty soon, and I haven't had anything to eat. I know better too, Melissa. I do. I mean, I know when I'm getting tired, it's time to go lay down and leave the crochet alone. But, you get the gotta finish it, and you don't always listen to your good sense. But yeah, I need to go upstairs here pretty soon and get something to eat. I think tonight is going to be leftover night at our house. We've still got pinwheel meatloaf left, and um, still got some of the corn chowder that I made the other day. So at least my husband has some good stuff to take to work for his dinner this evening. And then tomorrow, I think I'm going to make stuffed pizza. And one of these days here, I've got to get beans cooked and do refried beans. I'm going to make chorizo and bean burritos. I usually will make a big batch of them and wrap them up in freezer paper and freeze them so that my hubby can have them to take for his lunches. Oh, well, you know what? Have you ever done a pinwheel meatloaf? They are so super easy. Pie and mash, that sounds good. Is it like a pot pie, meat pie, Louise? Oh, I won't tell anybody. So, Melissa, to make a pinwheel meatloaf, when you make your meatloaf mixture, you just make it the way you normally do, and then you put out a piece of parchment paper and you put your meatloaf on the parchment paper, make a big flat layer of meatloaf. I guess I made it about this thick of a layer in a rectangle on the parchment paper. And you want to put your parchment paper on your baking pan. So um, I just, yeah, Icy's barking about something. I'm not sure what. Ooh, chicken and veggie. That sounds really good, Louise. Anyway, you flatten it out on your parchment paper, and then you put a layer of chopped spinach, sliced mushrooms, and then whatever kind of cheese you like. I used Parmesan just because I like the flavor of it. And then I just put a little extra salt and pepper and a little garlic powder on top of all that. And then you just take and you kind of pick up the parchment paper on one side and kind of roll it forward and just keep rolling the meatloaf up and use the parchment paper to kind of help you pull it up and form the roll. And then I just left mine. They say to put it into tin foil, but I just kind of crimped the ends of the parchment paper and left the roll of meat inside that and baked it that way. And it worked perfectly. I didn't see a, oh, well, he just needs to learn to like new things. my, my hubby complains sometimes. He'll be like, you make some really good things, and I tell you I like it, and then you make weird stuff. the problem with me is I enjoy cooking so many different kinds of food. Like, I love trying new recipes from different cultures and stuff. So, I'm not stuck on making the same 5 meals every week, you know, for us to eat. I get sick of, the same old all the time. So, um, yeah. So, yeah, probably I do make some weird stuff sometimes, but hey, we eat good. I want to try your meatball subs, Marianne. That looked like that looked like a really good recipe. I definitely want to make those sometime. You know, Melissa, it's only me and my husband here now, and I still get really tired of trying to decide what to make. And I try to plan out a menu a week at a time. So, um, so that I can plan my shopping. With groceries, I mean, they're so freaking expensive anymore. It's not even funny. And so I try to plan my grocery list, plan my menu so I can plan my exact grocery list and, only buy what I really need for what I'm going to make. And yeah, just sitting down and planning out a menu every week just drives me crazy. Oh, yeah. Well, I used to have my mom living with me. So trying to cook for the three of us, especially with her, um, because the older she got, um, the more kind of restricted her diet became. Um, she got to where she couldn't handle like really spicy stuff. And I mean, even though when she was younger, I mean, Indian food and stuff like that, she just absolutely loved it. But as she got older, her stomach just couldn't handle it very well. So it was kind of a game of, you know, how to cook for the three of us and have it be something that we all liked. And we did, her insurance gave us, when she came out of the hospital, they gave us a meal program for her. Um, I don't remember how long it lasted, but it really lasted a lot longer than what it was set up for. I think they gave us like 3 months of it, and so they sent like meals like breakfast, lunch, dinner type thing, little frozen meals. And they were great because they were the perfect size for her. Um, but I what I did is on days when I was cooking something that she really didn't enjoy or something that might be too much on the spicy side for her, she would I would tell her what meals we had in the freezer and she would choose one of those and I would heat that up for her. And so that worked out pretty well. Um, but yeah, trying to decide, yeah, what we want to eat for a week is not always fun. Well, and that was just like the other day when I was asking everybody to help me decide what what to make that day. And my husband did like the corn chowder. That turned out good. And I made kind of like reminiscent of Red Lobster's, their Cheddar Bay biscuits. I made drop biscuits with garlic and cheddar in them to have alongside the chowder. In fact, I even like to break one up in the bottom of my bowl and put my chowder on top of it. So yeah, that was good. And I make drop biscuits, and the way that I bake them, I let them get kind of on the crispy side on the outside, but they still stay really soft in the middle. And my husband just loves when I make biscuits that way. So yeah, he was happy that I made biscuits the other night. He's been having a biscuit with his coffee in the morning for breakfast. Nothing like garlic biscuits and coffee for to start your day, right? Breakfast of champions. Well, you guys, we are over an hour now, so I am going to let you guys go and um, do the rest of your day. Yeah, biscuits, exactly. My ex-husband's grandmother, his family was all from Kentucky, so we would go down and visit his grandparents in Kentucky, and his grandma would be out there in the kitchen at the butt crack of dawn making homemade biscuits. And oh, she would throw down some food. I mean, that old lady would cook. Oh my gosh. And she would just fill up that table for breakfast. And I mean, she'd have her biscuits and gravy and eggs and all of that stuff by Mary Ann. And she'd even put like cake and you name it, she would put it out on that table at breakfast time. Man, she would feed the heck out of you. So, yeah, biscuits, definitely. Now, see, I love dumplings, but my husband will not eat dumplings. So, I would love to make a good pot of chicken and dumplings. Nope, not happening in this house. Maybe I could get away with making some chicken and dumplings and making him biscuits. I don't know, but yeah. So, anyway, guys, I am going to say goodbye. It's been fun spending another hour with you guys today. I hope you guys have a great rest of the day and be watching out for some upcoming videos. Like I said, I'm going to try and do a video with the Natasha beads coming up. And I think I may try doing a crochet hook handle with the Natasha beads style. So we'll see how that turns out. All right, guys. See you tomorrow. All of you that come to Kim's Coffee. I'll talk to you soon. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.